What do you do when unexpected overload is on your working plate? Adding only on your plate will make you probably feel more full and you will not be able to enjoy the process of what you're doing. So today I thought, why don't we discuss this, Why don't we discuss flexibility and adaptability? How to move things around when requirements are challenging and when you are asked to step into different priorities. And maybe this is an opportunity to rearrange the way you do things around. Welcome to the Leadership in Progress podcast, where we discuss all the things we are still figuring out at work, as humans, and as leaders. Each episode is packed with stories, tips, and real talk to help you build your leadership muscle for better connections, better results, and more meaningful workplaces. If you are listening to this, I know that you're someone who likes to constantly learn and grow, someone who cares about their career and also their personal development, someone who likes to influence, and someone who likes to inspire. And I will do my best to add more value to your journey. Now I'm thinking that in those hectic, difficult situations, maybe it's time to stop and rethink. Maybe there is an opportunity to do things differently. Because in every crisis, there is an opportunity. And some people are able to stop, rethink, and find it. And some other people, they go down the rabbit hole, exhausted, and they are more anxious when they come back. But to do that, to be able to stop and rethink, we need to be able to recognize that we are in this situation, And to be able to recognize that this is a special situation, you probably need to be able to identify your current and normal situation and your current role, the flow, the normal, and what is expected from you. Because you can only recognize something special when you know what normal looks like. And many times we fall into the trap of dealing with things we shouldn't deal at the first place and not acting in our role. And let me give you an example about that. Let's say that you are a sales developer, okay? And you are promoted into a sales manager. Now you need to be more strategic. Now you need to coach the salespeople to bring the results. But you're still dealing with those sales. You're solving problems as if you were a sales developer. And that might feel comfortable and it might feel rewarding for a while because you know what? We feel good when we do something successfully, something we know. But this is a big trap. Because once we step into our comfort zone, we don't allow ourselves to try new roles and explore those tasks that will give you the confidence to grow. And I need you to stop for a moment, reflect, and think about this. From your position, how big is the proportion of uncomfortable versus comfortable tasks? You see? Because if your everyday life at work feels very comfortable, it means that you're probably not growing enough. And let's clarify something, because comfortable doesn't mean not busy. You might feel extremely busy. You might feel also extremely stressed, but still, you might be doing the low-value work. You might not growing. So in that scenario, imagine that you need not only to cover your role, but also to step into another project over and above, or to cover your manager. That is a big gap to cover, isn't it? So today what I'm going to do is to give you 3 questions to reflect on. And so take your notes and move into action when you're feeling overload or when you need to get out of the usual in hectic periods. I'm going to give you the tools so you can find some answers to eliminate those hectic periods and create some more, let's say, resilience, okay? So the first question I need you to write down and reflect on that question is, what can you delegate? There is a quote that I like that goes like that. Do what you do best and delegate the rest. Of course, it doesn't apply in every single situation and not 100% of the time. But if you keep that as a mindset while you're growing your career, moving into more strategic roles, then you will be able to separate those other tasks from the ones that only create the feeling of being busy. So what can you delegate? And this is the first question. And what I like to tell to my clients is that delegation is an investment. If you haven't created the foundations to delegate effectively, then delegation might look very hard in the beginning. And because delegation is very important, we will have a separate episode only on delegation. Because as simple as it sounds, people struggle to delegate effectively when they lead other people. A lot of thoughts, a lot of feelings going there. So we will make a separate episode around that. Now, why it is important to delegate when you have over and above projects to follow? Because it's like having a plate and you're going to the breakfast buffet of your favorite hotel. You put the usuals, and then suddenly the chef brings those extra delicious meals they want you to try out. What do you do then? Do you eat everything you were planning to eat and then take the extras as well? You might do that once, maybe twice, but can you do that every day? So what you're doing in reality is to adjust your meal based on your needs and, of course, based on the priorities that you have. It's the same thing with workload. When you are required to level up or to cover something urgent or something more meaningful in your role, you need to rearrange what is on your plate. You cannot have it all. When everything is a priority, nothing is a priority. When everything is important, then nothing is important in reality. So reflecting on the question, what can I delegate or what can I outsource, is your first thought in those hectic periods. Moving on into question number 2, I need you to write down and reflect on that question is, what can you postpone? And yeah, you see, postpone might be your next approach. We don't think about postponing certain projects or tasks because we think they need to be done. And maybe they are not that urgent, but we don't stop, we don't reflect, and we don't rearrange our priorities. Most people, when you explain to them why something is going to take longer, of course, unless it is something extremely important, right? Most people, they will understand. And most people, they will give you more time for that. But to be able to do that, you need to communicate effectively what the reasons are, or you need to manage expectations with other people. So without realizing, what is it that we do instead? We postpone other things, yeah, but we don't communicate to the stakeholders. And as a result, people are complaining or they make reminders because we delay their projects. And that makes us even more stressed, even more anxious. So the secret here is to postpone with intention. Yes, rearrange your priorities, okay? Find out what needs to be postponed and communicate that to the stakeholders. If it's a peer, discuss that with your peer. Let them know that they will hear from you. Or maybe rearrange the expectations. If it's a client, again, let them know when they will hear from you. Don't just let them wait, because then they will feel you forgot them. And then they will start pushing, and then they will start sending those reminders. You need to remove this uncertainty feeling. And finally, when you have extra workload, you need to rearrange everything and reprioritize everything. It's time to stop and ask yourself the third question: what can you automate? We are creatures of habits, and when we learn how to do something, we rarely stop and think that this is still working for us. Is it still relevant? In those hectic periods, instead of moving faster, try pausing for a moment and rethink. I know it's challenging, but you need to think, is there a better way to do this? Can I use technology or even AI to automate some of my processes? Or some of the tasks that they take longer, how can I make them faster? How can I do things differently? I remember before the pandemic, I used to drive 3 hours to meet one of my regional sales manager, just to have a meeting for 1 hour with them. As everyone else, I never stopped to think, is there a better way of doing this more efficient? In a blink of an eye, after the pandemic, we moved into Zoom and into Teams calls, And the solution was always there, but we never stopped to rethink how we do things around. What brought you here was good enough to take you to this level, but it will not take you to the next level, the level that you want to be tomorrow. To be able to do that, you need to stop, reflect, and rethink how can you do things differently. This is when you step out of your comfort zone. That is when you and your results, they grow. Even when you try something and you fail intelligent. And you're closer to level up and you're closer to grow. So those are the questions you need to ask yourself when you feel like you are in this hectic period or when you have more challenges than before. Don't move faster to cover every single gap. What can you delegate? And delegation is an investment. So if you haven't started doing this, maybe it's time to learn how to do it effectively and start doing it. What can you postpone intentionally? And communicate that, of course, to stakeholders. And finally, what can you automate? What can you rethink in the way of your working? And if you like this episode, share it with someone that you care and someone you respect. Maybe someone you feel is busy and they are going through a hectic period. Who knows? And before you move on, if you haven't done it yet, subscribe to my channel, like this video, and comment with your thoughts. You have no idea how much this helped my channel to grow. And I'm leaving you with that thought. Being a leader is not just a job description, it's a mindset. It's a skill that is always a work in progress. And I'm here to add more value to your journey in leadership.